Within this episode, I'm going to talk you through macronutrients, known as macros. This is for anyone that has been tracking their calories for quite some time, focused on goals such as weight loss, body recomposition, muscle growth, strength, or other fitness goals such as sport-related exercise goals. Macronutrients are key for short and long-term goal achievements, but also health. Now, you've been tracking your calories, let's say, for a good few months, and you've seen good results. You've lost some weight, you feel better about yourself, you're fitting your clothes, you're looking in the mirror and you're liking what you see. You've been going to the gym maybe for quite some time and you're really into your training now. Maybe this is a new habit for you and you just feel all around good about yourself, but you just feel like there's something missing. Your friends are telling you that they're now tracking their macros and they're feeling like they're making much more progress than they did before. Well, this is where macros comes into play. Now, I first started learning about macros about 12 years ago when I was in Australia and I got coached on body recomposition. And I'm going to break down the three macronutrients, which are protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So protein is the macro that you're probably most familiar with. We see protein everywhere in protein shakes, protein bars, protein cookies, protein yogurts. It's absolutely everywhere at the moment, more than ever before. When I first started training about 18 years ago, I only knew protein of protein shakes, really, that bodybuilders would drink. And, I didn't even drink that myself, to be fair. I only started probably drinking protein shakes about 12 or 13 years ago. So when I first started training, even I wasn't, drinking protein shakes or eating enough protein, probably. So it's everywhere at the moment. And even now in supermarkets, we have protein on the shelves. It's in bread. It's just everywhere at the moment. It's just exploded. So the consumer now is left with all these choices to make. Do I eat protein bread? Do I eat protein cookies? Do I eat protein yogurts to get my protein intake up? Because we was told before, okay, eat protein from meat and fish and eggs and stuff like that. And now it's everywhere else, breads and cookies, etc. So I understand that you're probably very confused. So protein, we know, is only 4 calories per gram. So if you have 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of carbs, 1 gram of fat, protein is 4 calories, carbs are 4 calories, and fat is 9 calories. So we know that protein is on par with carbs for how many calories there is per gram. So hypothetically, if someone was to eat 1,200 calories per day of just protein,
no, God, please, no.
If they're within their calorie deficit, which they probably would be, then hypothetically, then they can just lose all their weight and lose fat with just eating protein, as it's quite low calories, and so is carbs as well. But the problem with that is you're missing the other 2 macronutrients. So yes, if your goal is calorie tracking, then yes, hypothetically, you can eat 7 bowls of rice per day if you want, or 5 chicken breasts, and probably lose weight.
Nice.
But can you do that consistently? Probably not. Okay. And would you jeopardize your health? Yes, you probably would. So it's important to have a good balance of macronutrients on your plate when you are working towards your health, fitness goals, particularly towards fat loss. So what forms protein is amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. You've got many strains of amino acids linked together and they make up a protein. Now, there are 3 main amino acids that the body cannot physically make, and that is isoleucine, leucine, and valine. Therefore, we have to consume those 3 main amino acids from food exclusively. Now, if we can't get those amino acids from food, we have to get them from supplements. But we have to make sure that for protein purposes that we may need per day, we're consuming enough amino acids from our food. Now, most people, when they're working out, they will need at least 30%, possibly 40% of their total daily protein intake being consumed from food every day, 24 hours. So it's important that you make sure that you per day are eating enough protein and it's important that you have regular amounts of meals with enough protein per meal to get the protein intake that you need. So let's say if your goal is 30% per day and you want to get in 100 grams per day, when it's important to have set amounts of protein per meal to make it 100 grams. Okay, you probably wouldn't be able to eat 100 grams of protein in one meal because protein is generally quite filling. Okay, if you ate 100 grams of chicken breast, you'd probably be there for all day trying to eat that chicken breast. It's just so filling. And it's the same with eggs and beans and yogurt and other protein sources. It's generally quite filling. So that's one of the other benefits of protein. So it's, number one, it's low in calories, and number two, protein is generally quite filling. So if a person is wanting to lose weight, then it's important that they eat enough protein for the day. So that's pretty much it for protein. Let's move on to carbs. The first step you want to do is set a carb target. So aim for about 30% per day and just put that into your calorie tracker. Set the amount of calories that you need for 30% of your carbs based off the amount of calories that you've consumed. Then once you've got the amount of carbs that you need to consume, then just divide that by about 3 meals per day and some snacks, and then you'll just know exactly how many carbs to consume per meal. In terms of muscle growth, carbs play a key role because it allows you to perform well during your workouts. You can really push yourself hard if a person is eating more carbs versus, we know from the research, if a person is going low carb. Again, this could affect your performance, not necessarily, but it depends on your metabolism, how quickly your body's burning off carbs, and it needs carbs during your workouts. If your workouts are quite intense, they're quite arduous, you focus on endurance, running or sprints or conditioning, then you probably would need to be consuming enough carbs. But as a rule of thumb, aim for about 30% carbs per day. As long as you are within a total calorie deficit throughout the day, you should still be able to burn some body fat. And again, as long as you're not over consuming your carbs throughout the day. I'd say your main sources of carbs are oats, rice. You want to make sure that you're eating more what's called lower GI carbohydrates and less processed, the better. So if you're eating more UPF carbs, ultra processed carbs from high sugary foods containing mainly high sugar carbs, high sugary yogurts, high sugary drinks, foods containing quite processed carbohydrates, ready-made meals. Again, this is going to spike your carbs up too much for the day. You're going to consume too many sugars. Whereas we want to try to keep your total sugars lower for the day. Fruits and natural occurring sugars are fine, but processed carbohydrate sugars, we want to keep them as low as possible. So we have what's called the glycemic index, which is high GI carbs, such as processed carbs and sugar, cookies, biscuits, chocolates, sweets. We want to, really eliminate them as much as we can and just go zero of that stuff, ultra processed foods. But there is some processed foods that we can still work in, like breads and pasta. They're still processed, but they're not UPF, ultra processed. But we want to try and have as whole food possible carbs as we can. So lentils, chickpeas, quinoa, oats. We want to try and sourdough bread, fruit. We want to really base our carbohydrate intake around those whole food style carbs. What they're going to do for you is keep you fuller for longer. It's going to keep your sugar intake down. It's going to keep the total calorie intake low. And it's going to allow you to just get more health benefits from those style of carbs because they're more whole food, and you're going to get more vitamins, minerals and fiber within those carbs versus UPF foods that has very little fiber, has a significant amount of sugar and has a lot of calories within UPF style carbs. The third macronutrient is fat. Now, fat used to have a bad rap. It still sort of does. I do speak to many people these days and they say, I'm going to cut out my fat completely because fat makes you fat. Well, it just depends on what fat that you're consuming, as there are different types of fat. Now, as I mentioned before, fat does have 9 calories per gram. So if you have, let's say, even a tablespoon of olive oil, there's going to be over 120 calories in that 1 tablespoon. And you put that over your food, it may not seem like a lot, so you could easily overconsume on olive oil. You can even add 2 or 3 tablespoons of olive oil within your salad, thinking that you're eating something healthy, but you're overconsuming your calories by 500 or 600. So remember, if you're eating more healthy fats, which are great for you, such healthy salmon, healthy fish in general, nuts, these are all healthy fats, and they can be and should be worked in to at least 30%, maybe 40%. On some days, if your carbs are 30%, you may push your healthy fats up to 40%. Because fats, unlike carbs, they don't spike your blood sugar, okay? They stabilize your blood sugar and they elevate your blood sugar quite slowly. But the thing about fat is, it may not look like much, but it's quite calorie dense, and it can fill you up for quite a significant length of time. Maybe 3 hours if you eat the right amount of fat intake. But also fat has vitamins A, D, E, and K, fat-soluble vitamins, which helps you digest certain proteins. Just be aware of saturated fat, because that's the fat that you want to keep on the lower side. It's mainly coming from animal sources such as red meats, pork, etc. So just be mindful of how much animal fat that you actually eat, because like I said, with healthy fats, we get a lot of benefits from healthy fats, but saturated fats, we don't get a significant amount of benefit. However, it's still okay in a small amount throughout the day. So bear in mind that you can still eat red meat and you can still eat animal fat. You just got to be quite mindful of it. Okay. So there you have macros. I hope you found this episode useful and educational and helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And I wish you all the best of luck with your goals, and stay tuned for my next episode. Have a great day.